date, for there are more all-black schools in Dallas now than there were in 1971, when the decision came down. As a matter of fact, in 1971, Dallas had 180 schools, of which 43, or 24%, were more than 90% black. Last year, 49, or 27% of Dallas's 184 schools had black enrollments above 90%. The schools in Oak Cliff are a perfect example of the continued segregation and the resegregation occurring in Dallas. Councilwoman Lucy Patterson blames part of the problem on the school district.
The kind of gerrymandering of the district lines that occurred when the school district drew the line along the middle of the street, which was an obvious attempt to prevent integration, the natural integration that would have occurred in that school, I think demonstrates a part of the problem with the school district or the school board that did not enter into the spirit of integrating the schools at the very beginning. Because if, according to the law, because if they had integrated the schools by simply removing the lines that had gerrymandered districts, the schools would naturally have integrated. People would not have been moving out of their communities to avoid what would have been a natural pattern of integration.
To many people in Big D, South Dallas is synonymous with black. In the schools, the same is true. It depends on how one draws the boundary lines, but the general area referred to as South Dallas has about 30 schools which are more than 90% black. Many are close to 100% black. Take this school, for example, Story Junior High. During the past school year, Story had 95.1% black students and 1.5% Anglos. But do you realize that during the past year, the school district bused 29 black students here for integration purposes? 30 black students were bused to all-black Lincoln for integration purposes, and blacks also were bused to black Roosevelt for integration purposes. All this simply means is that when integration finally comes to Dallas, black South Dallas will need some white students in its schools, and to many Anglos, that's frightening.
Well, I think if they're going to bus, they should bus both ways, but I'm not in favor of busing, period.
Well, I wouldn't like it. I would rather stay at the school I'm going to. I wouldn't like to be bused across town and go to a different school.
I dislike it very damn much.
Why?
Because there's no need to send kids clear across town. You go to school with your friends, lifetime friends. You live in the area with them. Some of the best friends I have today are the ones I started school with. Bus me to Oak Cliff, I wouldn't know anybody. Just against it, very much.
I think it's the silliest thing under the sun, and it's just causing all kind of hard feelings between whites and blacks.
Do you consider Dallas integrated now?
Presently, as it stands, no. My part of the community is, with the exception of McShann Road and a couple of Mexican Americans live here and there, very few blacks and Mexican Americans live in North Dallas. As far as the schools are concerned, you know, we still have about, what, 60, 65 one-race elementary schools at the elementary level. The secondary level looks much better. But the elementary level is far from being integrated.
Then there's Pleasant Grove, which once was an all-white community, now a somewhat stabilized integrated neighborhood that may soon in the future face the problems of resegregation, like its neighbor here to the west, Oak Cliff. South Oak Cliff High School had 210 white students enrolled here in 1969. Last year, the school district says only 3 white students enrolled here. So it's no wonder that the South Oak Cliff High School marching band, which at one time was all white, is now all black.